Hello and welcome to the licensing hearing on the 24th of October. The first item on the agenda is for the subcommittee to appoint a chair, and I understand I've appointed Councillor Nichols, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'll pass on to Councillor Nichols to chair.
Cool. Welcome everybody. First of all, before we start, I'll just state that as well as being live webcast, recording of this hearing will be made available to view on the Council's website afterwards. So the people here, Councillor Hook, Councillor Knight, Councillor Nichols. Helen Sefton is the licensing officer, senior licensing officer. Get your title right. Jodie is legal advisor, and Reese is the democratic services officer. Good mate. We have, excuse me if I get it wrong, Gerish Kedo.
Yes.
Oh, it's not bad, is it? And then Jackie Booth and another Kim Hollis.
That's it, thank you.
You're a witness.
Yes.
Understand, cool. Right, any declarations of interest? No? Good. There is some confidential information that has been submitted by the North Yorkshire Police. If we need to refer to that, we will have to resolve to keep the press and the public out, but there's only one public here and the press are not here. Also, the usual way to propose that the press and public will be excluded at the end when we have our deliberations, so it will just be us making a decision at the end. I'll adjourn. So before we move on, minutes of the last...
That being approved.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you should approve that.
Yeah.
I've never not there that.
Yes. Keep it confidential.
Minutes of the last meeting. Are we happy to approve those as a record?
Yeah, and there was Councillor Knight was a couple of them. What's that?
Are you want to approve the minutes?
Oh, yes.
You was there.
Yes, two of them anyway.
Right. So the procedure is going to be, which is where we go. We will have the applicant speak for 15 minutes, making your case. You don't have to use 15 minutes. You've got up to 15 minutes. We'll then have questions for yourself from the police and from ourselves. Police will then speak for 15 minutes and make their case up to 15 minutes. You don't have to use it all up. And then you can question what they say, and we'll also have questions. There'll then be 5 minutes for summing up. So when you're questioning, it's not a chance to restate your statements, it's for questions. Then there's 5 minutes summing up at the end from each of you. Then we'll adjourn and we'll go and discuss our decision. Okay? The reason I say questions is people tend to make a long statement and then say, do you agree, as opposed to a question. So, first of all, Helen's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is an application for the grant of a premises licence made by Snazzy Brew Limited at 1A High Petergate in York. The nature of the application is to allow for the sale of alcohol at a small cafe spread over 2 floors, the ground floor and the basement. The application is for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. each day. The premises opening hours are 8:30 to 11 p.m. each day. I do apologise, there is an error in the report on page 43. It says that the opening hours are from 11 a.m. each day, so that should read 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. So a copy of the application and the plans can be found at Annex 1, and that starts at page 51. As part of the application, the operating schedule submitted by the applicant shows that they intend to meet the licensing objectives as indicated in paragraph 10 of the report, which begins at page 44 and 45 of the pack. An overview of the circumstances in which entertainment activities are not licensable are found at Annex 2. The premises is not located within the cumulative impact area, and I can confirm that the consultation process for this application was carried out correctly. There is one representation received from North Yorkshire Police in their capacity as a responsible authority. The representation from Force Licensing Manager Sergeant Booth is based on each of the 4 licensing objectives and is attached to Annex 3, page 73 through to 86. A map showing the general area of the premises is at Annex 6. Additional information has been provided by North Yorkshire Police, and this has been circulated to all parties prior to the hearing as an agenda supplement. So today the committee has the following options when making your decision. Option 1 is to grant the licence in the terms applied for. Option 2 is to grant the licence with modified additional conditions imposed by the committee. Option 3 is to grant the licence to exclude any licensable activity to which the application relates and or modify conditions. And option 4 is to refuse to specify a person on the licence as a premises supervisor. Finally, option 5 is to reject the application. And that's my report, and obviously I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Helen on the report?
No.
No, Rachel. Any questions?
No questions, Chair.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. That's easy.
Got away with that?
We might come back later.
Okay.
Right, your 15 minutes to present your case for a licence.
Yeah. So as Nazi Brew, the plan for the license is to, sell drinks, and for us, like, the idea did not come from out of nowhere. We got inspiration from other premises that do sell specifically, alcohol, for takeaway. So for us, we also, for that, it's a good idea and it's beneficial for us to work on it, because again, we won't be primarily operating as a pub or nightclub or anything like that. We'll be operating as someone who's going to be selling perhaps a drink, for them to take away. We mostly work with tourists. We don't really work with, 90% of our clientele is tourists. So, and also our audience is mostly people, wanting to see around York. Is not really party people. And we really don't see the problem of why we shouldn't be able to, able to serve alcohol. We're not planning to really sell any liquor or any hard liquor. It's mostly going to be red wine, mule wine, especially for Christmas. That's during the time. And also, I know during the Christmas market, there's many places around that sells mule wine for takeaway. So for me, I found it quite outrageous that we're not able to do it, whereas so many other businesses out there can do it. I really don't see the issue behind it. We never had any incidents. There isn't many incidents down High Peter Gates that involves use of alcohol. So again, I don't really understand, the reason why they don't want to do it. And I think overall, us being able to serve, alcohol for takeaway, just like many other places in York are allowed to do so, won't be detrimental to society, won't put in danger. As an application, like the public, I think it's also say kids. I think that's just outrageous. I don't see why other people, can do it and they don't affect it. For them, there isn't this issue of them affecting society, kids, or public peace. But for us, if we have it, we're automatically gonna affect all of those things. So yeah, that's my thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify something with Mr. Keddo, if possible, please. And it's part of the additional material at page 3. And it was a notice in the shop that said there was the premises was going to be relocating. I just wondered if you could confirm that if you are relocating and if this alcohol licence is still being relevant to this premises at this location.
Oh yeah, so this we're not relocating we're here. So this is for this premises. Yeah.
Right. So the notice, because that was displayed the weekend just past there.
Yeah, we're staying here.
Right.
Yeah, it's for this premises. I don't even know if you could. I don't even know what's the thing to get a license and use. I don't know. We're not doing that. We're using it for this one, for 1A Happy to Get specifically. I don't know if there was an option to do that. Yeah.
Right, and then just one other question. As part of the application, which it's at page 52 in the bundle, there is a section that says, I am carrying on or proposing to carry on a business which involves the use of the premises for licensable activities, but that has not been ticked. So I just want to clarify again, that is that been an error where you've not ticked that, but you do want to use the premises for licensable activities? can I just point it out to you if that's okay? It's that there. You see there's some tick boxes there.
Yeah.
So they have not been ticked.
So now you mean like selling alcohol?
Yes, so the licensable activities would be the retail sale by alcohol. It's just that box is...
I think it was a mistake, yeah.
Okay.
Could I ask the question, Sarge? Is that okay? I was just wondering, just reference what you said there, because I looked at the initial application. There's no mention in the application about wanting to sell off sales for people to take with them mulled wine, that kind of thing. Was it just something that you wanted to sell mulled wine, seasonal drinks, that kind of thing, or if the off sales are permitted for open containers, that's for any alcoholic beverage at all, unless there's some kind of restriction or condition put on there. But I didn't have that information to hand when I looked at those conditions. So I just wondered, was it just mulled wine you were wanting, or is it all types of alcohol?
I mean, we're not going to sell, we're not planning to sell like hard liquor, like we're not planning to sell like vodka, or it's more like wintertime mulled wine, and then summertime perhaps beer and wine. So, but it's not
beer,
like.
But was it beer and wine to be able to sell for people to take with them in an open container to walk into the street and drink, or do you mean just beer and wine inside?
During summertime, I mean, so we're planning to sell like, it's up to them whether they want to have it inside or outside. And again, we're not planning to sell like any hard liquor.
Okay.
So anything that's like perhaps not above, hard liquor, what was it, 10% or 20% of the hard liquor. Yeah.
But to clarify, you are wanting to be able to allow people to take any of the alcoholic drinks that you are offering outside and be able to drink them outside.
We're not going to sell like hard liquors, so it's not going to be an option. We're not going to be selling like vodka, gin, things that people get drunk very easily on. It's more something for people to enjoy, like a wine. People don't down wine, they don't just have it like a shot. So it's more like those kind of things, like mulled wine, beer, so people that they can, drink. But as I said, like we've seen other places, even in the Shamble.
Oh yeah, there are plenty of licenses that have it.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, the idea came from that one. So it's like similar thing to them. It's like selling those kind of like not hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any information about that in the application, I just wanted some clarity about what the intention was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, if I may, Chair, just on that point, so just to be absolutely crystal clear, what we're saying is a customer can come in, have a beer in a glass.
No, in a like not like not like
in a
we don't
disposable container,
we don't,
and take it out, and they could stand outside the premises and take it or walk.
To be clear, without a condition saying no glass or that it has to be in a absolutely, then it can. That's the point. Yes.
Yeah, I mean we don't do any glasses in our shop. We don't do any china or any of that.
But you can come in and you can stand within the cafe and drink it, or you can take it outside.
Yeah, it's up to them whether they want it in or out. Yeah.
So you can take it away and walk down the street.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Questions, councillors?
That's a really done, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, is it? I suppose that's one for the police, isn't it? So I better not. No, it's okay.
Yes, I had a question about the taking it off premises in open containers. You say, and forgive me if I've missed it, so you say effectively you're only serving wine and beer?
Wine, beer, mulled wine.
Wine, beer, so wine, beer, cider probably.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Nothing higher.
Does that need to be specified?
Yes, it does.
Yes,
Without a condition on the licence to say that, then that may be the intention, of course, of the applicant, but without a condition, it's not. They're permitted to sell any type of alcohol,
right? And
anybody else who may reside in that premises thereafter.
Yeah, so that may be a desire, but that's not specified in it. So we need to get that absolutely right. Thank you. That's helpful.
Can I just go back? You said it's a cafe, so people mainly come in for something to eat, and you want to give them a drink while they're having a meal?
Yeah,
Well, it's
I mean,
on site
it's-
as well.
Yeah, people come in for coffee, people come in for food, sometimes people are just coming for cake. I mean, people come in, like, the food is always there, like, it's, you know, we mostly sell cakes, cones, there's always food there, so it's
And
like...
there's tables and chairs on both floors.
So we don't have, actually, we don't have basement, like, the basement is not used by the public, so it's like, it's
You're not
only...
intending to use it?
No.
Right, okay.
Because, yeah,
If I may interject, so the licence application covers both floors. So the
Yeah.
applicant has stated the basement will be
okay,
licensed.
so it has the same mistake, yeah, so...
It says on
Yeah.
all
Oh,
of the
right,
plans, just so
Yeah.
you can see them a little better.
Yeah.
But the basement, as it stands, would be licensed.
But yeah, we're not planning, so if that's in conditional return, we're not planning to use the basement. Like to see customers stuff like that, no.
Cool. And have you got any other licences anywhere else?
No.
Cool. It may be just the wording, but you say in your submission on
Yeah.
page 82
Yeah.
that many of our customers purchase premium wines and craft beers to enjoy responsibly in outdoor settings.
No, I think that's the error. I think that's the plan is like, because we have a lot of like South American customers that, you know, in the evening they would like to have like a glass of wine, so that's the intention, is to have like, you know, premium wine and cheese. But I think that's an error right there, because I don't have...
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
I was hoping otherwise you could get arrested.
Yeah.
So it's more a case of we would like our customers not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like to say to you later on, you also say we serve premium drinks. Again, is that you hope to serve premium drinks?
Yeah, I mean, we have. I mean, I guess also coffee can be considered as premium drink. I don't necessarily mean like alcohol. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. So you understand that bit? And you also, on page 82, you said, when you was talking about keeping documentation,
Yeah.
and you said your staff will be overwhelmed with excessive paperwork. Are you expecting a lot of trouble?
No, for me, I was trying to, again, I'm okay with handling the extra paperwork, but, you know, I was hoping that perhaps to leave some, how can I say, when it comes to like, not necessarily paperwork related to like, how can I say, destructive behavior, that's no problem. I'm happy to report all of those because I know there's a purpose behind that and it helps the business. I don't really mean that. I mean just like other people, whether we have more flexibility with how often we have to do some stuff. And if there isn't, that's fine, which I don't really contest.
Okay. And are you now clear about the signage where you said you would try to keep up to date? You understand it's not, you're not going to try, you are going to.
Yeah. I said like, there's only one thing. Like, it was 13 thing, and it was only one of them. You know, I was like, fine. The 12 months fine. It's only the one thing. Like, let's agree with. Yeah, the other is fine.
Right. All happy with questions? Lovely. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I trust members of the committee who've had sight and considered the representation made on behalf of North Yorkshire Police, including the additional material that was submitted in respect of this application for a premises licence for Snazzy Brew. I would like to point out from the onset that North Yorkshire Police have attempted to mediate with the applicant, Mr Keddo, in respect of proportionate conditions that are tailored to the business model that was set out in the application. And you can see that communication exchange in the bundle from page 77 onwards. However, as is the applicant's right, we have been unable to reach an agreement on those conditions, which has resulted in North Yorkshire Police submitting a formal objection. To ask you as a committee to consider those conditions put forward by the police, should you determine that a premises licence be granted in respect of this application. The email exchanges between the applicant and myself highlight that the police have taken into account crime and disorder reported in the vicinity, of which the applicant himself has been a victim of. Mr Keddo is aware of the issues in the area, particularly in relation to street drinking and antisocial behaviour, and I would refer members to the additional material bundle, pages 35 to 37, and the police incident report. To allow persons to purchase alcohol and leave the premises with open containers which could potentially be glass, and I appreciate what Mr Keddo has said in his submissions earlier, and encourage street drinking in an area that is already experiencing issues of antisocial behaviour would, in the opinion of the police, increase the risks of further disorder. I would refer members to your own statement of licensing policy, paragraph 7.6, which states the prevention of crime and disorder is both an objective of the Act and an important responsibility of the Council under the Crime and Disorder Act 1998. And furthermore, para 7.7, there are many steps an applicant may take to prevent crime and disorder. The Council will look to the police for the main source of advice on these matters. In accordance with the Section 182 guidance, police views on matters relating to crime and disorder will be given considerable weight. The police have taken into account your own statement of licensing policy and the 182 guidance, and as you will see highlighted in the police representation, put forward conditions that we believe are enforceable, precise and tailored to this application as how it is set out in the paperwork submitted. PC Hollis is the police licensing officer for York who proposed the initial conditions, and I intend to hand over to her when I've finished so you can ask her questions on how she devised those initial conditions that were put forward. Members, what I would ask is if you are minded to grant this application, I would respectfully request that you add the conditions proposed by North Yorkshire Police as they are tailored to mitigate risk and promote the licensing objectives. Thank you, and I'll hand over to PC Hollis.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to give a little bit of context to some of the conditions that I've come up with. So, as I'm sure you appreciate, I look at dozens of applications for new grants and variations in the city, both in and out of the CIA area. And just on that, I will note that this is reasonably light on conditions for an application in the city centre. There's nothing in there that I've added that I felt was unreasonable or disproportionate given the application that was put in front of me. I will make the point again that the application doesn't specify any detail about how off-sales would be managed, how off-sales are intended to be used, and therefore when presented with an application like that, standardly I would look at making sure that the off-sales do have some type of restriction because of those issues that we're seeing in the city. Certainly more recently, and unfortunately that's something that's been increasing over recent times, and there's been a lot of pressure put on lots of public services because of those issues with street drinking in the city centre. Those applications and premises where they do have a requirement or they wish to serve mulled wine, Christmas drinks, that kind of thing, there are conditions that I will tailor to meet what an applicant wants so that it works to still protect the licence and make sure that there's some risk mitigation in there. But to have no condition at all in relation to that does mean, irrespective of our particular applicant here today, that any alcohol can be served as an off-sale. It can be served in any vessel, and it can be served in any way in which they see fit. And it does also mean that anybody else who may go into that premises in the future as well and utilise that licence can also do that. So I do try and look at the longevity, not just the immediate as well. So it's just to give a bit of context to that. And just to speak on, I guess, really the fact that I've not asked the premises to look at alcohol being ancillary to food, even though it's a cafe, and I haven't asked for a requirement for tables and chairs and things like that. So the conditions that I've put on have been really reasonably flexible with regards to a cafe licence in comparison to if they'd just been a few metres in the other direction and they'd been in the CIZ, then those things would certainly have been requested by us. So I've tried to be proportionate and look at what is presented to me and what I think will mitigate that risk. But I do really feel that if no condition at all is put on to restrict or give an understanding of how those off-sales will take place, that it does pose quite a large risk, especially given the problems that we are currently seeing and that are still increasing within the city centre. And if you've got any questions for me, please do ask away. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a chance to ask questions.
What are these like? So I get to ask like question or just like it's not really a statement, right? It's a question.
Well, yeah, there's a question in it, yes. It's not just making your point. You got a chance to make another point at the end. So.
Oh, okay.
There's just to ask specific questions about what they've just said.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some new information there that I think we've learned today. So it's whether or not you've got
Yeah,
questions based on what you said.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. So like some information. So like, which area of the city would you say like has experienced drinking disorder?
So I'll answer that question in relation to the York Statement of Licensing Policy. Sets out an area called the cumulative impact area. Now it is a very saturated area where there's a number of licensed premises and it has the largest disorder. However, there are still calls for service in an area outside of the cumulative impact area, and part of when we review an application, our due diligence checks, we will check crime in the area where the application is set. So for your application on 1A High Petergate, we have done a report based on crime and antisocial behaviour, and some of those incidents you will have seen I have submitted from the additional material, and I appreciate and I know you're aware of the incidents that are taking place. So we take that into account. So it's not just saying that there is a specific area. We still look at the application on its own merits and look at the crime and disorder in that immediate vicinity, which is what I have done and my colleague PC Hollis has done for your application, and that's why we've submitted that additional material so that you can see there has been concerns, and that's why I think you're aware from our communication exchange that the concerns are that there is street drinking in the area, there's an antisocial behaviour in the area, and to have a licensed premises added into that vicinity without appropriate and proportionate conditions. I think just to highlight, we are not objecting to this application in its entirety. What we are saying is we would want to support a business in the area with the appropriate and proportionate conditions.
Could I just add a little further to that as well? Yeah. Just from what you've asked there, just from my point of view as your licensing officer for the city, is that when it comes to the off sales, that the point is that your premises itself may not sit within the cumulative impact area, but when you're talking about off sales being permitted at a premises, and that the city centre does experience a lot of issues with alcohol-related disorder, and a lot of what we're seeing at the moment does link to people drinking in the street. Having another premises that offers open containers of alcohol for people to be able to walk away from your premises and maybe go and sit. The consumption is not licensable, I understand that, but you're a licensed premises and we have to look at conditions that will help to sort of risk mitigate against further adding to more people purchasing alcohol and then taking it into the city and potentially causing disorder even away from your premises. So that's why I look at those things. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I just feel that the confusing bit is like when talking about like crime that happens, in 1A High Petergate is, for me it's quite confusing if that's being used as a reason, because the crime that took place, it was mostly between two people and it has nothing to do with drinking. It was like, it's other reason. So for me it's like, it's just confusing when that's being used as a reason.
That to clarify, that's not my reasoning behind coming up with that condition. That's evidence that we've provided, but to give you clarity on that is not the reason that I've put on the licence. Because you could look at any cafe application that's come in recently, and you will see that I'm asking those similar things. So it's not specific to those incidents. That's just evidence of it. The condition is there to risk mitigate.
But for me, it's like I don't even see like how those incidents are relevant to this application, because again, it's like it has not, like those incidents have nothing to do with licensable activities. So for me, it's like it's just very confusing why it's even relevant.
Well, because the drinking of alcohol means that you have to purchase that alcohol somewhere, and in order to purchase the alcohol, somebody has to have an alcohol license. So it is linked, because you will be selling alcohol, and therefore your responsibility is higher than if you're just serving tea and coffee, because someone leaving the premises with a coffee is not going to be able to be drunk in the street, but somebody leaving with alcohol may cause disorder. So they're the things that we have to look at.
Yeah, it's just confusing for me because, like, again, those two people, they were not drunk or anything. Like, the incidents that happened, they have nothing to do with alcohol.
No, but
and we're not, and I'm not, and that's not why I've come up with the condition. No.
Yes.
But what we're trying to demonstrate that there is still being issues of crime and disorder. That the 4 licensing objectives are about the prevention of crime and disorder, the prevention of public nuisance, public safety, and the protection of children from harm. So 2 of those 4 licensing objectives have already been engaged because of in the vicinity there have been incidents. Now, one of the incidents related to, I have to be obviously a sensitive material, but it related to a report that attributed issues of antisocial behaviour and street drinking, and that is in the additional material for people to read. It's not about the specific report that I think you're referring to, but also in relation to the conditions. They are there to protect you as well as a business. So they are there because there has been incidents of crime at your premises, and where you yourself have been the victim of a crime, and actually when you add further alcohol or licensable activities, then that increases the risk of the potential of further disorder. So those conditions are actually there to protect you as a business and your customers as well that are using that premises. So that is why we are looking at not just the incidents that happened, but the risk mitigation factor as well.
Yeah, but I'd say I don't see how us having a license would increase, because again, this issue with this individual, it has nothing to do with alcohol. It's out of whether we have a license or don't have a license, the reasoning behind them committing the crime.
But to clarify, that is not why the condition is being looked at being imposed. The condition is there to risk mitigate because there is a known link to additional disorder and risk by selling alcohol, and that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at these license applications and the conditions. That's the reasoning behind them, is to mitigate risk associated with disorder linked to alcohol. So in my opinion, there is an additional risk by selling alcohol, of course, and that's why I look at conditions on licenses. If that's clear.
Move along. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one, but this is still doing it.
Okay. Councillor.
Yeah, just for clarification, now that new information has come to light about non-glass, not use of glass and only mulled wine, or only just other softer alcoholic drinks, if you can have that sort of thing, would that change things, and would it be possible to draft a different condition?
It would absolutely be possible, and that's absolutely something that we do with licences, and we would bespoke write those conditions to that information, but we would look at a condition that then says that, so that there is that restriction there. It may be that there are a number of licences within the cities, I'm sure you can imagine, that have conditions that very specifically say they can sell mulled wine or seasonal drinks between, November the 1st and January the 15th or something, for example, and that's all that they would be able to do in the way of an open off sale. And there are some that will say things like they're only permitted for certain types of drinks, but very much restrict some of those stronger drinks and have some kind of restriction on that, maybe even within timings, but there's lots of factors there, so it would be difficult for me to say exactly what that would say right now, but there would be ways of looking at making a condition to help to mitigate some of the risk associated with that, if as the gentleman said, that there's only certain drinks that they want to serve. Yeah.
Just to clarify my understanding, I think I'm right in thinking that we're talking about the Christmas market effectively.
Yes, usually.
that's quite a narrow window of time, isn't it? Because don't they wrap up by 6 or 7 or something, I think?
They do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a late one, and that's the other point that I would make, is that, you know, usually those type of mulled wine conditions do tend to be daytime into early part of an evening, because it is linked really with that festive period where, of course, we have Christmas markets, but there are other festive offerings, and they do have a cut-off, but they don't go all through the night, and they don't go till, usually speaking, they wouldn't go till 11 p.m. That wouldn't be something that was usual. So that's a good point.
Right, you sort of half answered my question, I think, because when you said seasonal, because I mean, I would say a lager shandy in the middle of the summer, isn't it?
Seasonal. Well, you're absolutely right, and there are people who have conditions that may say something like seasonal drinks, such as mulled wine within the Christmas months and or Pims, etc., within some of those summer months and things like that. But usually the way that we do that is to actually put on there kind of more what they can't have rather than what they can have, because of course fashions change, don't they, with drinking and everything else, and it might be that somebody wants mead or a mulled cider, I don't know, so it really just tends to restrict things like spirits. Or there are conditions that certain cafes have where it will be that certain alcohol, it can be added to a coffee or a hot chocolate, that kind of thing, for when people have the Baileys and hot chocolate and that kind of thing. So it's doable, but you have to know some specifics there. Otherwise, in theory, you can just give somebody a vodka and let them wander off with it, sort of thing, and that's what we have to look at.
Yeah. So I know it's not your questions, but it's a question. The thing about this, when you say premium drinks, are you thinking about those coffees with alcohol in them as well? Do you sell them? No. You want part of your plan, that's fine. And
So no spirits. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, like coffee with alcohol? No, we're not planning to sell spirits.
Yeah,
no.
you're not serving spirits.
No.
And when we talk about in sealed containers, we're talking therefore the small bottles of wine, because you're on about selling like wine. So you can get, I'm not a wine drinker, so I've seen them on the shelves,
So
the little ones,
If
a glass.
how about that condition? The condition I've put there, if a cafe or restaurant wants to sell a customer a bottle of wine that they've enjoyed or something like that or whatever, and take a bottle with them sealed, even the larger bottles, to take home and enjoy, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
But to actually serve it in a cup or a glass to take away with them to drink, that would be an open container, and that's the bit that we're trying to narrow down.
And is that the same with bottle? Are you thinking of selling bottled lager as well?
We're not going to sell. We're not planning to give away. Pretty much let anyone drink off a bottle in a glass or anything like that. If someone's going to ask for a glass of wine, it's going to be in a plastic cup. If someone's going to ask for a glass of beer, a cup of beer, it's going to be in a plastic cup. We're not going to open up the bottle and give it to them, because we know obviously like it's not something sensible to do, because they can use the bottle or something.
Okay. Happy? Yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because what sounds like it'll take a bit of working out exactly resolving this problem that we didn't quite understand what was happening. It would take a while to redraft a thing, which meant that if we were going to redraft it, presumably it wouldn't be able to happen just in the next 2 hours or the next hour. Yes.
Ask me to answer.
Yeah.
So I think if you're thinking of redrafting a condition that restricts the type of alcohol and that no glass, it can be done. PC Hollis has said that she has drafted conditions like that on other licences.
So we could pinch
it could be. I'd refer to Jodie, but it could be that we could come up with a suggestion which may or may not fit your thoughts. But yes, it would be worth clarifying. I'm a little confused, as maybe you are, as to exactly what the applicant does not want to sell, and that might be the easier way. Instead of saying you can sell this, it might be easier to say you can't sell this. You with me? So that he said spirits, but there's all sorts of spirits. There's
Jäger bombs.
there's cocktails. There's mulled there's seasonal, we've gone down all sorts of routes here. So it may be that we need a little clarification on what is not going to be offered.
And I think it would probably be fair to say from our perspective that we would have some concerns with
11 o'clock at night.
with allowing the sale of open containers of things like cocktails and beers and things until late into the evening, because I understand what the point that's been made about bottles, but if someone's buying a bottle of wine to take home with them, they're probably not going to open it in the street and drink it. Yes, but of course if you have got something that is open, your intention is to drink it and to consume it somewhere within that city centre curtilage, which is the concern we have, because people are then drinking in the street, and that's sort of the point really that we're trying to prevent.
All happy with questions so far? Yeah. Right, we come back round to summing up. Which was either Cleason or first.
So, to sum up, to say that we are not opposed to this business wanting to have a degree of licensable activity at the precise location, but in order to mitigate the risk of crime and disorder increasing because of the sale of alcohol at that specific location, we believe that it does need to have tailored, specific, enforceable conditions that can be looked at that will benefit the local community so that they are not affected by this new addition to a licensable premise in the locality. Just going back to the point, we've obviously had some further information today from the applicant regarding what he proposes by the alcohol that he wishes to sell. And again, just to reiterate the point that we have based this conditions put forward on the application that was before us, and even during the communication that you will have seen between myself and the applicant, we've tried to highlight the point, and we've not had that further information until today. So whilst we're not opposed to looking at an additional condition around what the applicant has put forward today, if you were minded to grant this licence, I do have to point out that I would still have concerns around the open vessels till 2300 hours, and that is something that I, again, as my colleague has already highlighted, we have other premises that do not operate with those open vessels till 2300 hours. So I would really ask you to take that into consideration as well when you're considering if we're looking at a condition around specifically open vessels, what that alcohol is and the timings in relation to it.
Thank you. Mr. Geddo, sum up. Your chance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much.
You have used it after that.
That's fine.
Cool. Any points of clarification from us?
Just a minor one, just if anybody knows. Am I right in thinking, just looking at the map of the area, am I right in thinking that Sainsbury's is at number 31 in the top northwest corner of the map there? I think that's Sainsbury's, isn't it?
Yes. There is a Sainsbury's there. You go down to the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up in the northwest corner of Sainsbury's just there, isn't it?
It's actually just
It's at the other end, isn't it?
Yes.
Where the crossroads, the funny crossroads are.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it will be,
it.
yeah.
31 Bootham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I thought so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, we will adjourn. And we will have a chat to make a decision.